Highlights there of Season 1 of SailGP. The goal was to redefine sailing, and as you've seen there, I think it's clear that SailGP succeeded by putting the best sailors in the world in the fastest class of sail racing. We've got all of the skippers up here. Welcome to Season 2 of SailGP. We have 3 new skippers out here. The helms, we'll talk you through them. Arguably one of the greatest sailors of all time in this sport. He's at the helm of the Great Britain SailGP team. It's Mr. Ben Ainslie, 4 consecutive Olympic gold medals, and he's going for a 5th America's Cup campaign. In between that, he's managed to fit in SailGP. We've also got 2 young skippers joining Ben. We've got Nicolai Sehested, from the match racing and round the world fame. He's at the helm of the Danish SailGP team, presented by Rockwell. And then up at the other end there, one of the most entertaining characters that we've seen on the championship so far this year, FlorianTrittel, wing trimmer for the Spanish SailGP team. And he'll be taking his debut at the Tokyo Olympics this summer. And then we've got the more recognisable faces. In the middle there, the hometown hero, winner of the $1 million race at the grand final in Marseille last year, and the Olympic champion Tom Slingsby. Next to him, runner-up and double Olympic gold medalist, double Olympic medalist, sorry, it was a gold and a silver medal. Nathan Outteridge at the helm of the Japanese boat. And then finally we've got America's Cup winner Kirby for the Americans, and we've got Billy Besson, Olympian and 4-time world champion for France. It is a very impressive roll call, and they're all at different stages in their career, but they're brought together here for SailGP. We're going to have a couple of questions that will bring you up to speed with where all of the teams are at the moment, at this stage of the season, and then I'll open the floor up to some questions so you can get the specifics of what you need from the guys. We'll start with the man of the moment, why not, the hometown hero. Tom, you start Season 2 of SailGP on home turf. There were no lower expectations last year because no one knew exactly what to expect. How different is it this year? Are there nerves for you?
No, there's not nerves, but there's, yeah, for sure there's a bit more expectation winning last year, and yeah, the first event being in Sydney. We obviously know this place really well, but we're really excited just to get back on the water, and in practice so far, the level of the teams has gone up so much. So what people don't know, we're probably not as much of a favourite as you think. The level's a lot higher now, and we're really battling away in training. And yeah, but we're still confident. We think we can put in a good showing.
You've opted. You're the only helm, in fact, who's opted to keep exactly the same team from the inaugural season. What reasoning did you have for that?
It's definitely not coming from a spot of complacency or anything like that. We know we only just won the season last year over Nathan, and yeah, we know that we've got to keep improving and keep developing. But I just feel with this team, I know them so well, they know me so well, and we don't think we're anywhere near our potential. Personally, I've got a long way to go. I think I can improve so much, and so I think everyone in our team think that we've got so much to learn and improve. So. Yeah, I've given our guys that chance, and we're going to continue to try to improve and try to stay on top.
Well, one man who knew just how difficult you were to beat last year was the runner-up, Nathan. How disappointing was it for you to come so close last season?
Yeah, that final race was a bit disappointing for us. I think anyone who watched it saw that basically a very quick summary of the race was Tom made an error in the pre-start, getting a penalty which handed us the lead. We maintained it for the majority of the race and made an error and let him pass. And I think what it shows is that if you really want to win this event, you've got to start clean. You can't make mistakes. And so we've had a good look at that. We've done a bit of a restructure within our program, and we're on a journey to try and reduce errors and try and have another go at it this year.
The Japanese SailGP team is one of the development teams, so you've made some personnel changes as well in key positions, wing trimmer and flight controller. How hard is it to fill those positions at this level?
Yeah, last year we had Ian Jensen and Luke Parkinson on our team. I brought them in as a 1-year deal. They basically came to the squad and tried to give us as much knowledge, and our goal last year was to capture their knowledge, obviously get performance on the water, but get what they learned from them and transfer it to other team members. So since arriving here in Sydney, we've got 2 new guys on board. We've got Leo Takahashi as our flight controller, and Ada Menzies has stepped into the wing trimmer. Ada was a member of our shore crew last year and was basically in reserve for Ian throughout last year. So they have a very good understanding of how the boat functions, how it works, and what we've worked on over the last 6 days is giving them a chance to learn the skills in the boat. So I've been extremely impressed with how well they're getting to grips with the boat. They are quite intimidating boats, and just because you know in theory what you're meant to do, doing it in practice is quite different. And you know, I've got confidence in those boys that we're going to be competitive. I think we're very realistic with our expectations in the short term, but our goal is to keep learning, keep developing, and hopefully we can be in the hunt at the end of the season.
Okay, when you watched the highlights at the start of the show, you would have seen one moment which a lot of these guys who sailed last season would put pin in as the crux moment of this first season of SailGP. It was the bear away at the first marking cows. The boats were sailing, the F50 was at its absolute wind limit, and Rowan Kirby was the helm who got to look the beast in the eyes around that mark. Rowan, talk us through that moment, because that was one of the biggest, I think, individual moments of season 1.
Yeah, obviously, we were at a place in cows where we were feeling pretty confident, and that start we were definitely pushing, and we were sailing with a lot of differential, and we ended up going around the reach mark and we popped the rudder out. You know, it's hard to tell from the actual video, but the sea state was pretty bad, and the rudder kind of popped out and got released, and we planted it pretty hard. So, but our team kind of persevered. We got the boat back upright pretty quickly. For the most part, the boat was in decent shape, apart from fairings, some stuff with the wing, but we were able to sail and we kept sailing, and that put us, you know, obviously for our team, finishing races is a big one. It definitely cost us last season, and we're going to focus on that this season.
Do you feel like it was a turning point for your team though? The fact that you'd seen almost as bad as it could get, you'd been out at the wind limit, it had gone wrong, and you were able to get back in the boat and race the next race.
Yeah, it was you know, I probably pushed our group probably harder than I'd like. We got back on the horse and they didn't have much time to kind of comprehend what just happened, but at the end of the day, you know, we stacked it, everything was all right. We were kind of, well, what's going to happen? Flip over again, but let's get back on and get on with it, keep racing. So.
Okay, Billy, your home race back in Marseille, you took your first victory on SailGP. What did you change? What had you learned that delivered that victory?
Yes, in Marseille we learned a lot because it was all the season behind us, sorry. So that's why we progress along all of the year, and now we change a bit our crew, and I would like to make it upgrade on board to improve this season and make it good for this year.
Are you happy with the way the boat's sailing out here in Sydney?
Yeah, for sure. I'm very more comfortable than the last year on the first season. So no, this year I'm more comfortable with the boat, and I know the limit. We have all the season behind us, the first season, and now it's new season again with new country and new boys. So I think it will be very exciting.
Thank you. Ben, over to you. We'll start with the new helms. It's not like you haven't got much on your plate this year. Why have you come across to SailGP?
I think watching the inaugural season last year and just seeing the boats, the performance of the boats and the racing, the way the teams developed and the iconic venues that the league was going to. You know, I guess as a racing sailor you want to be involved racing at the top level, and it was clear to me that this is it, and certainly being out here in Sydney, my viewpoint on that hasn't changed. The first time we went sailing in the boat about a week ago, myself and the rest of the guys on the boat just had the biggest grins on our faces, and that hasn't really changed each day. It seems to be getting better, and then throwing some racing into the mix as we had day before yesterday, And then today with the great conditions we've got lined up, it's the best sailing I've ever done. So it's well and truly matched those expectations. And I think all of the sailors here would say, being part of this circuit, being tested at this level in these boats, you're going to be a much better sailor for it.
You're in an uncommon situation for yourself, I imagine. On the F50, you've got the least amount of experience of the whole team.
Yeah, I'm the rookie in our team. And I've got a fantastic team. Like I'll say, second round they all raced in this league last year and did very well in their respective teams. And they're sailing the boat brilliantly, and I'm just got to try and put it in the right direction and as fast as possible, which has been a great challenge. And today I'm really interested to get out racing. It's the first time we'll have the starting software going and the race course software, and that will be a big deal, just getting to grips with that. But otherwise, in terms of the manoeuvres and learning to sail the boat, I think we've developed really well over the last week. And just watching all of the teams, I'd say that's the same for everybody. And so the racing's going to be unbelievably tight.
Certainly, that seems to be the case. Tom said earlier in the week that you could be the man to beat, so no pressure.
No, he's just passing on the butt. I'm sure we all know that's not quite the case. We'll see how it goes.
There's a friendly rivalry building there, I think we can see. Let's move on. Nicolai, what does it mean to you to be here and representing Denmark?
Oh, it's a massive thing for me and Denmark as well. I'm very proud to be able to represent such a great country and also a great sponsor. It's a long time coming, but we're very excited to be here finally, and I think we're going to have a very good time.
And you've got quite an interesting character looking down on the Danish team for this season, haven't you?
I assume you're thinking of Holger Danske on the wing. If that's the case, absolutely. We have a great design of it, and that's all credit to our sponsor and SailGP picking such a great design. We're proud of it, and when we sell by other people, they're also giving us a lot of credit for a good-looking boat. And Holger Danske is an old character in Danish history, and sort of trying to bring the Danish DNA onto our team as well. It's very important that it's a big part of Denmark, and we're representing it well. So yeah, we're very excited about him and the design.
Okay, one thing that's definitely been shown already is that the F50, as much as everyone waxes lyrical about how great they are to sail, they also bite, and you had a taste of that at the start of this week.
Yeah, I mean, of course these boats are on the limit all the time, and we should also race them on the limit if we want to catch up with the other teams. So we're not holding back too much, but we have to be also smart and sensible. It is a long race, and we don't want to hurt the crew or injure the boat or hurt the boat the first day. So we are pushing smart, but we have to be on the limit, otherwise we're not going to catch up. So that's why we're sort of maybe going a little bit beyond sometimes.
And it cost you one of your crew members injured on Sunday, was it?
Oh, I think that was more unlucky. That was not actually a pushing situation. That was just very unlucky, stepping in the wrong place at the wrong time. So that happens. It's sport. It's racing. It's on the limit, and he's absolutely fine. He's just got a little injury, and he'll be back soon again.
Okay, thank you. Florian, over to you. The team hasn't been together that long, the Spanish team. You were the last addition to season 2, and yet you seem to have gelled incredibly quickly. What's that down to?
Yeah, our team is up for just 2 months now, and I think the big part is as well because we have Phil Robertson, our Kiwi interim helmsman, on board, and our super coach CJ. I think they've been pretty big game changers for us to steepening up the learning curve. And yeah, generally our crew, the team we have, we're really good friends, and yeah, coming from the Olympic campaigns, I think that's giving us a little bit of a push that we can feel the boats very easily. And yeah, from what I've seen in the practice that we've done in Sydney Harbour so far, I think up to 15 knots we're pretty comfortable controlling the boat. Everything beyond that we'll see probably tomorrow on day 1 of racing. Focus looks pretty solid, but yeah, I think we can be up there in the mix fairly soon.
Do you think there's an element, you're the youngest team out on the water, is there an element of fearlessness to you?
Yeah, probably there is, and the oldest one in our team is our coach CJ, and then Phil, and they're always the ones holding us back. And I think that is really important because obviously we want to go for it, we want to be up there as fast as possible, but you always have to be taking an eye on being careful, no? Because these boats are on the limit, as everyone's saying here. We're traveling at 100 kilometers per hour, 50 knots, and 7 boats in one tiny little race course. It's pretty close racing, so you have to be taking care, and I think it's a good combination between fearless and then the other ones that are a little bit older and want to hold us back.
Okay. We'll open the questions up to the floor now. If you want to give us your name and your outlet, the women will be coming around with a microphone.
I'm Blue Robinson, Seahorse Magazine. A question for Ben. Welcome back to Sydney. Sydney's got a lot of great memories for you in the past. It's the first event of the season. The Australians are in good shape. I mean, we've heard they won last year. There are no changes to the team. They're settled, they've built on that, and so they're comfortable. How do you unsettle the Australians? And how do you get under Tom Slingsby's skin?
Well, if I knew the answer to that, I wouldn't tell you. I think, as Tom said, the practice that we've had so far, the practice racing 2 days ago, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes today. The racing, I think it's got a lot closer. I'd still say, in certain wind conditions, the Aussie team, Tom and the Aussie team, are going to be perhaps a little bit of a step ahead of the rest of the teams. Maybe in the super light conditions or the stronger breezes. Just some more time in boat. Obviously, each person on that boat is incredibly talented. But it's a tight race. It's a 10-12 minute race. You've got to get a good start. And I think whereas last year perhaps some teams have had a bad start, they could sail through the fleet, might not be so easy this time. So I think just push hard, try and put people under pressure, see what happens.
As I said, Sydney's been very good for you. You won your first gold medal here in 2000, beating Rothschild. That involved a lot of controlled aggression. How much of that controlled aggression will we see in play here to get you where you want to be?
Well, I'm still learning the boat, so got to be a little bit careful of controlled aggression, throwing it around too much, and actually stitching ourselves up rather than stitching up the opposition. I think you could probably be a little bit too clever in these boats, and we've seen that before. So, I think for us, step by step through this Sydney SailGP, get to grips with the boats, the competition, and of course it's about trying to get yourself into that top match race at the end of the season. It's that's the target for everyone, I'm sure, and that's the same for us.
My question is for Nathan. The Australian sailing team was announced today at the Olympics at a press this morning, but the NACRA's category wasn't. I wanted to ask you, Nathan, what you know about this, because it seems that you might have been up for selection against Jason Waterhouse.
Yeah, my understanding is that the selection process is still ongoing, and that's all I can say at the moment.
Do you have any opinions about that selection process?
No opinions.
Not yet.
Have you heard when the NACRA's representative might be announced?
No.
Okay. Also have a question regarding coronavirus, obviously affecting a lot of world sporting events. The Olympics has also been talked about whether it's going to go ahead or not going to go ahead. How do you react to those sort of, big moments, big decisions to be made in world sport?
It's an interesting topic, and there's lots of different opinions on this, I'm sure. The thing that comes to my mind is I remember before the Rio Olympics there was a lot of concern over the Zika virus and a few other things in Rio that might have been an issue. And I think that at the end of the day, as athletes, we just have to respect the IOC and the organising authority for the Olympics, and I'm sure they'll make the right decision. And at the moment, I think I'm not really in a position, and none of the athletes are in a position to have a strong opinion. We just have to see how this unfolds, and I think the right decisions will be made by the IOC and the AOC there.
My name is Masatoshi Koha, Kyoto News. I have a question to Nathan. How much do you have a confidence on this season, even though the ratio of member, 60% of member became Japanese. How much confidence do you have? And another question is message to Japanese fans. They were new sports but are waiting your success. So please give me that.
Yeah, it's as I said before, it's a change in our crew list for this year. So we're starting, not necessarily from scratch, but we're starting all over again. Last year we had a very experienced team, and what I've tried to do is gather all the experience from those sailing team members. We've been working on a very sort of slow and gradual process of training up the new guys. They sat in every debrief, every meeting we had last year, and Leo, who's stepped up into the flight controller position, I think was very nervous the first couple of days. These boats are difficult, they're intimidating, but I think he's slowly growing with a bit of confidence. He's starting to understand his role better. To be honest, a lot of what he's learnt is credit to Luke Parkinson, who was doing that job last year for us, who's now with Ben's team. Luke, at the end of the season, did a really nice handover of everything that he learnt throughout the season. So we're starting from an inexperienced point right now, but I'm confident that throughout the year the boys will feel confident in the boat. They'll be able to manoeuvre the boat well, and I think if we get boat handling confidence, then we'll be able to race at a level we're at last year. It just might take some time. And to your second question, we are obviously an emerging nation when it comes to sailing. We're trying to get more and more Japanese people involved in the team. So this year we have 3 on board, and next year we'll have 4. And we've got a development program, a youth program going in Japan right now, searching out talent, trying to find potential new members, and it's going really well. We've got 2 young boys here at the moment, and 2 young girls here as part of the Inspire program, as well as our development program. They're obviously very excited to be a part of the team and be a part of the event. And our goal over the next few years is just to keep presenting those opportunities so that eventually the team can just grow its Japanese presence, but also its Japanese followers. The goal right now is to get an event in Japan next year, and if we can have an event in Japan next year, I think that will make big inroads.
Jacko Rourke from Christian Media. What's the biggest thing you've learned about the F50s after a full season of SailGP? Sorry, just on.
Biggest thing I've learned, I think it's just the refining the process. The boats were brand new last year, and when we arrived in Sydney, every team, we were having breakdowns, we were having issues, and now the reliability has gone through the roof. We've done 6 days of training, 5 days of training, and had really no issues, and most of the teams here are not really having issues. But the good thing about SailGP is the boats evolve every year. Even after Marseille, all the boats went back to New Zealand, got all electrical wiring looms done, and everything was just sort of foolproofed and made better. And then we've got the new wings coming in for San Francisco, and so the boats every year will get faster, they're getting more reliable, the racing will get tighter. It's just a really cool process to be on, because I've done a lot of one design sailing where the boat stays the same for everyone, but it doesn't evolve every year like this. This is the first of its kind, and it's exciting to know what the designers are working away at the moment over in New Zealand. They're talking of faster foils, super cavitating foils, which will go even faster. I don't know how that's possible, but it's just exciting. Who knows what they're going to come out with, and when it does roll out, it rolls out equal for every team, and the teams have got to adjust to it and figure it out. Kind of like the F1, when new rules come in, every team gets given the rules, and then you've got to figure out how to use it as quickly as possible. So I think the F50 is always going to be evolving for years to come.
Sorry, and a follow-up. How's the race tactics evolved during the season?
It's last year we felt we had an advantage in boat handling on other teams. Not so much straight line speed, but we felt like if we put another team in a tough position, we could make them compromise their manoeuvre, and we could get through that way. In practice racing here, we tried the same tactic and it wasn't working. The Spanish team, who were the newest team here, we put them in some really tough positions where they had to do a tack bear away on the foil in a really light, patchy part of the course, and 2 out of 3 I think they nailed in front of us, and we couldn't overtake them. They beat us in 3 out of 4 races in practice, and they're brand new, and a lot of these other teams everyone up here is talking down their chances and how we're the hot favourites, but if you watch the racing, you'll see it's anyone's game. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. We've just got to keep focusing on ourselves. I know if we put it together, we can beat these guys, but it's definitely not going to be as easy as last year. Well, it wasn't easy last year, I'm just saying that, but it was... there were more overtaking lanes last year than there would be this year. I'll rephrase that. Shouldn't have even said anything, I should have just kept going.
Excuse me, Anders Komstrup from the Danish media newspaper Besson. A question for Nicolai. You guys, Nicolai, had like 20 hours, less than 20 hours in this boat. Can you explain to us the challenges you guys have been in this journey, learning to know this boat?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a bit of a challenge, but you know, we're also aware of it, and we're also respecting that challenge. So it's not stressing us. We're not feeling we're on the back foot. It's you have to take your time and make the right decisions from day one. You can't stress these things and cut corners. You'll end up paying in the long game if you do that. So we're taking our time. We're learning everything about the boat step by step, and we're making sure we're building a strong fundament, and then we can build on that for the future. So we're taking it easy, we're not rushing it, but at the same time, of course, we want to do really well quickly, and we are pushing the boat and trying to keep it in one piece. So we're aware of the challenge, but we actually enjoy that challenge, and we think it's exciting to be a part of this and trying to hopefully surprise a lot of people on our performance quickly.
Anyone else?
Maybe one more to Nicolai. Nicolai, so with 3 guys or maybe 4 guys in front of you who are looking over their shoulder, looking over both shoulders, opportunities for you to slide around the outside or slide up the middle and take the win early, do you think?
Oh, I mean, we're going to push for it and we're going to give it everything, but I think, I don't think they're looking for us when they're looking at our shoulders right now, these guys. So we have a little bit of a break, I think, now to mind our own business, and hopefully we'll come in from the side and surprise a few people and steal a few points here and there. But yeah, we're enjoying a position we're in right now. We don't feel stress and under massive pressure.
Okay. I'll put another question.
One more question. Yeah. My name is Marta Garcia. I'm from Madrid, Spain, and I work for a sports magazine called Sports Life. My question is for Florian. And seeing the highlights of this sport, I mean, it's amazing. It should be everywhere. Why do you think big audiences don't get sailing, and what this sport can bring to the table so people can get hooked to this sport? And any of you can answer this question as well. Thank you.
I think it's the first ever concept in sailing sport that wants to really bring the sailing to the non-sailors audience. And I'm pretty sure that it's the right concept, and that we can, by bringing the racing close to the spectators, they can start to get hooked to it and understand it. I think the biggest problem why we don't get the impact from the non-sailors is because they don't understand sailing, and then they don't want to follow it because they just don't know what they see. So this concept is about really transmitting it TV-wise and close to shore, that everybody can really feel it and experience it. And I have been on the spectator side last year. We were there in Marseille, and it is amazing. Obviously, it's thrilling to be sailing these boats, but seeing the boats racing so close to shore, I think that's one of the game changers that SailGP is achieving to get. And I'm pretty confident that we are achieving our goals of hooking the non-sailors audience. And obviously it's a big duty for us as teams as well, SailGP just as the organization. And we have to do it with some glamour and also always with some fun.
Thank you.
Got a question for Tom. I think this is working. Oh, there we go. Just wanted to know, Tom, obviously you had a great Olympic success. With this whole coronavirus drama going on, do you think it would impact your decision to represent Australia or not if you were in the position in the Australian Olympic team?
I would still do everything I could to represent Australia if I was competing in the Olympics again. But I would, just trust the governing body. They're not going to put you in a unsafe environment. So I'd be just trusting the governing body, and whatever they decided would go on with.
Okay, thank you all very much. If you have any more questions, then you can talk to the SailGP press team. In the meantime, probably one point just to add to what Florian said, Marta. The SailGP app, powered by Oracle, takes all of the same data that's available to each of the teams and punches it through the app. So if you're watching the racing, you can actually watch the live stream from the race, but you can also climb on board each individual boat and suck up all of the different data from that boat. So you'll get the same data that's going to the umpires, to the commentators. You can immerse yourself as lightly or as deeply as you want in the racing, depending on your understanding of it. So it's worth checking out. Thank you all very much for your time. Thank you to all the hands. Pleasure.